Hi, I'm Michelle the Irritable Vegan, and for today's video I'll be sharing with you the techniques that I use for self-care during an IBS flare. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by the fact that contrary to the whole theme of this channel, the majority of them have very little to do with food or FODMAPs, from massage to meditation and an in-home spa to ASMR. I hope you'll find something here that will work for you the next time you find yourself in a flare-up situation. Let's get into it. So the first thing I usually address is my stress, anxiety and comfort levels to see what I can do to improve these. I don't know about you, but if I don't get these things under control first, then it really doesn't matter what I eat, I'm liable to experience a flare-up. Recently I've been listening to IBS specific meditations and hypnotherapy sessions. I was really excited to hear about the development of the gut-directed hypnotherapy app called Nerva that's been created in conjunction with the research by Monash. Unfortunately, if like me, it's out of your budget at the moment, I highly recommend finding some professional quality free sessions on YouTube. I'll link to a few of my favourites below. There's credible research to suggest that gut-directed hypnotherapy can be as effective as the low FODMAP diet for treating the symptoms of IBS, which is something I'm particularly excited about.
Creating a beautiful healing process.
Over the years I've learnt that a good way for me to tackle my anxiety is to meet it head on. Now this can be different for everybody, but for me it really helps to be proactive rather than reactive. So I like to start with a big old brain dump down onto paper. And this usually takes the form of meal planning, shopping lists, to-do lists, anything that helps to break the loop going round and round in my head and gets my thoughts down onto paper. If you've never tried this approach before, not only does it free up room internally for some quiet time, but it's a really practical use of all that excess energy which causes the jitters and sleeplessness. It can help you feel like you've achieved something, give you something to focus on other than your symptoms, and help prepare you for the FODMAP-friendly meals you'll be eating for the rest of the week, which will hopefully help limit any more unexpected flare-ups. Then, once we've got rid of some of that frenzied energy, we can look at trying to introduce some relaxation in any form that appeals to you. Crafting, journaling, or a similar hobby, preferably something you can do at home in your PJs. So my go-tos are things like reading, writing for pleasure, colouring, drawing, painting, cooking, watching TV or your favourite YouTube channel, playing with the kids, stroking a pet. As long as you enjoy it and feel up to it, then pretty much anything goes. Come with us. Once I've done some significant work on easing my mental health triggers, then I'll start to tackle the physical. So for me, this always looks like getting some fresh air on a walk with the dog. I also try to include things such as gentle yoga stretching and mindful deep breathing techniques. If you've got the energy to spare, then dancing around the room like a lunatic is also a huge mood booster. You're looking for this to be gentle enough to avoid creating any excess strain on the body's systems, but energetic enough to get those nerve endings firing and shift you up a gear. Sometimes in the midst of a flare-up, any kind of exercise or physical activity is the last thing you feel like doing. But honestly, sometimes the only thing that gets me off the couch is those puppy dog eyes. But when I do make the effort, it's very rare that I don't end up feeling better for it in the long run. Even if it means that afterwards I'm straight back on the couch in my pyjamas with a heat pad. The biggest tip I have for you is to find something that you genuinely enjoy doing when you're feeling well. This will then help to set up some positive associations in your brain, which will hopefully mean that you'll want to continue doing it even on days when you don't feel your best. Another really beneficial action you can add to your physical wellness routine is self-massage. This can be done over the top of your clothing, and I'm going to demonstrate my technique whilst lying down, which is the easiest way to do this for yourself when you're first getting used to the movements and the hand positions. Eventually, it's something that you'll be able to do pretty much anywhere within reason, whilst you're sitting upright at your desk or even in a toilet cubicle at work. The general rule is to work in the direction of the digestive system, which is roughly a clockwise direction. If you imagine a clock face on your abdomen, 12 o'clock would be at your sternum, 6 o'clock at your pubic bone, 3 o'clock at the left side of the waist, and 9 o'clock at the right side of the waist. Begin by becoming familiar with the placement of your hip bones, then slide your hands up until you feel your bottom ribs on either side. If you were to draw a line up from the inside right hip bone, up to the right bottom ribs, across to the left bottom ribs, then down to the inside of the left hip bone, you can create an archway. This archway roughly follows a simplistic view of the shape and direction of your large intestine. When you do this, it can really help to visualise your digestive system. So the food moves down through the esophagus and into the stomach, which lives in the left upper portion of your abdomen. It's actually much higher in the abdomen than most people realise, and it's roughly the size of your closed fist when it's empty. From your stomach, the food moves into your small intestine, which roughly fills the whole central portion of your abdomen. If you imagine a diameter of at least a hand's width out all the way around your belly button, again in roughly a clockwise direction. Then, where the small intestine meets the large, we have the ileocecal valve. This can be roughly found halfway between your belly button and your right hip bone, and an inch or so diagonally towards the pubic bone. The ileocecal valve then transfers into the ascending colon, which begins roughly in the dip on the inside of your right hip bone and travels up beneath the bottom right ribs, moving across to the left bottom ribs as the transverse colon, and then down to the dip inside your left hip as the descending colon. This gives you a rough idea of the layout as you're lying down, because your transverse colon is actually quite mobile, and particularly when you're standing or sitting up, it can actually drop quite low into the abdomen, which is one of the reasons it's a good idea to always massage the whole area in a clockwise direction. However, for my IBS-C friends or anyone suffering with chronic constipation, we don't want to begin the massage by moving the contents of the colon up the ascending and across the transverse if there's a severe blockage, or rather a backlog, already in the descending colon, as we could potentially cause more and more waste to pile up that's not been eliminated and cause a traffic jam situation. So if you've not had a bowel movement today, or you're prone to IBS-C, then we'll begin the massage at the top of the descending colon, moving down from the left lower ribs to the dip inside the left hip. Repeat this 10 times using either the heel or the flat of your hand with a medium firm pressure, releasing the pressure or lifting the hand off as we return back to the top. Once we've repeated this 10 to 20 times, we'll move across to the start of the transverse colon, beneath the right lower ribs, and massage across to the left, again with medium firm pressure, lifting off before returning to the start, to make sure that we're still moving in that clockwise direction. After 10 to 20 reps, we'll go down to the start of the ascending colon at the dip inside the right hip, up to the right bottom ribs, using the same pressure and count as the other areas, then finish off with some flowing clockwise strokes all the way around the archway of the colon from right to left. Then we'll continue with the rest of the massage to reflect the flow and direction of the rest of the digestive system. If you recently had a bowel movement or suffer with IBS-D, we'll begin the massage here by rubbing the hands together briskly to generate some heat before massaging. We'll begin the massage all around the belly button, which is roughly the area of the small intestine, in a continuous clockwise circular motion. Repeat for 10 to 20 rotations, then we'll slowly begin to extend the circle outwards to include the entire abdomen, using the flat of your hand and a similar pressure that you'd use to stroke or pet a dog. When the area feels nicely warmed up, we'll locate the ileocecal valve halfway between the belly button and the right hip, and a few inches diagonally towards the pubic bone. We'll massage here gently in small, clockwise, circular motions, and when you get well practiced at this, you may actually be able to feel the valve for yourself. Use the flat of your fingers, and unless you're absolutely certain that you can feel the valve, don't press directly down into the area, but keep working parallel to the abdomen. After a few minutes here, we'll move back to the start of the ascending colon and perform the repetitions in the ascending, transverse and descending direction as we've previously shown. repeating each of the strokes 10 to 20 times. Once we've finished concentrating on each area of the colon, we'll go back to a nice continuous clockwise movement up and around the archway. Then to access the final areas of the abdomen where the descending colon angles backwards towards the start of the rectum, we'll locate the hip bones on either side and move down to the pubic bone. Make a scooping motion to pull the lower abdomen and bladder to the side, then working diagonally from inside the hip bone towards the pubic bone in a forward crawling motion with your fingertips. Repeat this a few times before smoothing down into this area in a deeper motion than we've previously used. Repeat this again on the other side, working from the right side of the pelvis down towards the pubic bone. To finish the massage, perform slow, gentle, clockwise circles across the whole abdomen. And once you get used to the unique shape and feel of your abdomen, it may be possible to actually locate areas of congestion within the large colon by feel. If you're confident to do so, you can use that same forward crawling motion to gently encourage any congestion along the colon, always finishing with the continuous clockwise circles. If you stick to the basic rules of always working in a clockwise direction, not pressing down into the abdomen with the fingers, and keeping the pressure medium firm rather than just brushing lightly over the surface of the skin, then you really can't go wrong. And if you can perform this massage a few times a week, finishing off with some nice calming deep breathing, then your digestive system and your IBS symptoms will be all the better for it. If you're doing this massage at home, then I highly recommend using something like my peppermint pulse oil recipe directly onto the abdomen. So you get the added benefits of the aromatherapy element along with the effects of the massage. I'll leave a link to the video that features my peppermint oil recipe down below, but really any massage oil that you have to hand will work fine. Then, once I'm feeling a bit more back on track mentally and physically, I'll start to look at the food and FODMAPs. Now for me, this includes eating light, easy digestible, gut-friendly meals such as broths, soups and stews. I'll be looking at my eating habits over the past few days to see if I can identify any triggers. If I'm feeling up to it, I'll try to prep some simple, low FODMAP meals for the next few days, such as this 5-minute flare-up soup, which I'll leave a link to down below. I personally try not to get too obsessive at identifying the triggers or beat myself up if I've knowingly caused a flare-up. Being gentle on your gut often involves also being gentle on yourself. Then, wherever possible, I'll try to finish off the day with some deeply relaxing self-care. For me, this means turning off the lights, cranking up the heating, lighting some candles, playing a relaxing meditation, my favourite chill out music, or most likely an ASMR video from my favourite artist, the Lune Innate, and sinking into a nice hot bath and just letting the world fade away. If you're open to some deeply relaxing vibes, then I encourage you to check out the links below to some of my favourite ASMR creators. I find ASMR an extremely effective way of switching off my overactive brain and giving me something else to focus on other than my immediate reality. If you've never experienced it before, just know that it's a very diverse genre, and if you don't immediately like a particular trigger or an artist, then I encourage you to keep searching until you find one that's right for you. Whilst I'm waiting for the bath to fill, I'll do a dry body brush, starting at my feet, working upwards towards the heart in long, smooth strokes. This is brilliant for stimulating your entire system, soothing frazzled nerves, encouraging your circulation and lymphatic systems, and exfoliating and making your skin feel fabulous. This can also be done gently across the abdomen in the same clockwise motion that we used for the massage. The only areas I avoid are the breasts and face. If you're suffering with any areas of skin sensitivity, sunburn, open sores or skin conditions, then consult your doctor first. Although I'm sceptical about the claims of detoxing or cellulite removal for dry body brushing, I do it primarily for its calming, relaxing effect. And there you have it. I really hope you found some helpful hints for managing your next IBS flare-up, and I'd love to hear your tried and tested tips in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.